Hello, everyone. This is our first session to support our work this month. We're going to talk about the practice, the love practice that we are dealing with and practicing and playing with, which is observe with detachment. So there are lots of things we can explore in this, and it's going to be just open. If you have some comments, some questions, you can join in. It's really about discussing. It is a practice to put love and consciousness, not something we can just, have in our heads and park it there. We need to live it every day. So for those of you who are new to the curriculum of the World INLIGHT Partners, each Monday we have a session where we continue to practice the love practice of the month. So each first Monday we are welcoming and greeting a new practice. Again, this month is observe with detachment. And then every Monday we have, always at the same time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And we are connecting here on the live so that I can share some tools, some techniques, some examples on how to really put this in practice in our day-to-day activities. So it can enhance our relationships, it can enhance our work, our practice, professionally. If you are creating a career, if you are thinking of birthing a new business, or maybe revamping, reinventing, recreating from what has happened with the virus and all of this, big upside down world that we're living right now. But it's all so much of a gift if we're opening our heart and if we really put love in practice. So observe with detachment. It's all about no judgment. So if we can really go into what is happening in the world and have absolutely no judgment, just observe, breathe, stay in your practice of being centered of who you are and tap into the divinity of who you are, then you are now in an energy of creation, co-creation, because you are now plugged in with the divine, with the source, with the universe, Allah, Buddha, however you call it. But it requires to remove the head that is always wanting to judge what's happening. Things are happening for a reason, and we all know this. So stepping up a notch and really opening to love and consciousness is to remove the judgments we have about what is happening and try to figure out why, and it's not normal, it shouldn't be this way. It is what it is. And to the degree we judge, to the degree we have our opinions, then we are suffering. So the practice, observe with detachment, is how did you practice this week? How were you successful or not? And I would like for you to really contemplate 0 to 10. 0 is like absolutely nothing, or maybe you were not part of the call last week when we greeted this new practice. 0 is like I haven't done anything, and 10 is like I am on it, like everything is great, it's impeccable, everything is going well. And in between, like how did you use this practice? How successful were you? So let's say you've had a conflict in your relationship with your partner at home, or you have a conflict with how you're creating your business right now. Maybe you've been attacked, you're in a court case with some business partners or whatever it is. How were you successful to not judge what is happening, but totally clearly, purely remain open, breathe, and be connected to the divine? This too is divinely orchestrated, and how can I grow from there? So 0 to 10, be honest with yourself. Okay? So plug in, and it's always, I'm going to really remind you, the pause of the World INLIGHT Partners. We're always standing, the back is straight, and we have our feet slightly apart. And we breathe, we connect, we're grounded, we feel our feet on the ground, and we feel the connection through our breath, the connection with the divine, with the source. So always come from that place when you are making a decision for your business, when you're making a decision with what's next move for anything, even moving on with your relationship or with your kids, how you need to make a decision, which school, etc. You come always from this place of strength and alignment with love, and this is where you are detaching from judging and ego, wanting to analyze and make things work. Ego is ego, right? It's not always for our greatest good. So when you plug in with the divine, then you know you're making great decisions. So the practice to go within now, and we're going to focus on ourselves for this week, and then as we go, each week we'll bring another energy, another dimension. You can also ask questions. I don't necessarily have a chance to really read everything. I want to stay plugged into what comes to serve you. But for those of you who know me, I usually go after the session and go and check out your questions. Then I will address them the following week. So let's stay focused on ourselves. Some of our practices, and I just posted a beautiful video for one of our leaders from INLIGHT Partners, Maggie McKee, and she was talking about the importance to look at our subconscious beliefs and how it's actually rotting our today's world, like today vibration. So it's great to look at that, to dare to have the courage to go and look at what is the underlying, the subconscious beliefs and all of these, the past, right? The past that is still hanging and sticking around us. But if we add the practice, observe with detachment. So observe what has happened, observe those subconscious beliefs, but don't get engaged with them. Because if you do, boom, judgment, it's like we have an idea and we're condemning, we're thinking it's right, it's wrong. There is no such a thing. If we stay plugged with love, it is, right? So that too served us for our evolution, served for our growth, and served for who we are today. Now, here's the little thing to remember as well, is when we create a business, like most of you are entrepreneurs in these groups, and if you're not, if you have a regular day job, this is still the way you serve the greater plan. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. But what is important is that we stay plugged into love. So again, the moment we judge, we're disconnected. So our practice is to find those moments. How many times in a day do we actually unplug because we fall into judgment? All right? So let's really deepen this week. Let's really go into looking at the end of the day, have your little list. You can do it in writing, you can do it in your prayers, you can do it in many different ways. Go for what works for you. I'm giving you ideas, but I'm not here to tell you what to do and how to do it. I'm just inviting you in this energy. Work with what works for you. I never write things down, ever. This is not my style. I work with spirit. I dance through my body. I'm working more on the body level, and that's what works for me. Maybe it works for you to really write it down. So do it. At the end of the day, have your little scale, 0 to 10. How was I doing today? Like, make points. Don't judge. Like now, if let's say you were like a 2, like you were really bad, you were judging everything, you were struggling, you judged the way you ate or what you ate today, you judge what you heard on the radio. It's so easy, right? We're trapped. There's so much information out there. Imagine just the simple things. Sometimes you go on Facebook and you look at something and you're like, well, this is silly. Well, that's a judgment. Maybe you're here and you're like, where does she want to come with this whole practice? Like, what is that? Well, you're in judgment. How about just opening your heart and realize, observe the observer, right? Observe yourself being an observer and maybe the judge, right? So 0 to 10, come back to that every night. And how did you do? And now, if you were 2, how can you observe that yourself, that person that was a 2, and not judge that? Stay in love and love that person who was a 2. So this practice has many different phases, because it has the phase on judging what's on the outside, but it has the phase on judging ourselves as well. So the bottom line is staying in love. And love is no judgment. Love is no pressure. Love does not have an opinion. Love is. So come back to your breathing, and I'm inviting you to do it as often as you can during the day. Like if you are creating something, you're sending emails, you're making phone calls, stop in between your emails, stand, move your body, and replug. And that helps with staying away from judgments and away from this rush, and like the body's all tensed and stuff. If you want to stay in the flow of creation and the flow of the divine, then you become a much stronger leader, because you come from that place of peace and ease and grace. Yeah? So in between emails, in between calls, just breathe and observe yourself with detachment. When you are struggling, when you are not practicing your practices, then breathe and don't judge. You make a note, you understand, you see it, but you don't judge it. You keep loving, you keep pushing love. And from that place, when you move into creation and you build relationships around the world, now it's a world that is so open more than ever. I've been working on Zoom for years. I've been coaching remotely for 16 years. So for me, this is not a new world. But for many, it's like, oh my God, all of a sudden a whole new way to deal with our business. Do not judge anything. If you were late on this, if you were a pioneer, if you were, if you have struggles moving into this new phase, don't judge. It is what is. Breathe through it, and this is where you find your place of anchor, your place of power. All right. So this is it for this week. I'm inviting you to be very diligent and very committed to your practice, being impeccable in desiring to do it, in committing to do it. And that's your fine-tuning of your alignment with love, and why you're here, how you can serve deeper. So I look forward to connecting with you again next week for more things. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to share some of your experience, how it's working for you to add this practice in your life, please do so. Send a quick note on private messages here on the group, and then I will address that next week. So every Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, we meet here. I love you, and I wish you a fantastic day. Bye.